agreeing with people feels amazing, right? When you go up to someone and you go, hey, the most ridiculous thing happened to me, da 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 da, and they go, yeah, that was super ridiculous. Why? It brings you closer together. People like agreeing. Many people, they're not a fan of confrontation. And oftentimes that can lead to dishonesty, where sometimes you feeling honestly about a situation going, you know what, I thought the other way, but just for the sake of, finding harmony between two people or between a group, you end up going with the message, even though you don't necessarily agree. I think thoughtful disagreements are looked down upon. I think that we don't give them as much value as we should. In general, I think agreeing is awesome because you go along with the crowd. And it's very funny to me because we have this other side that says, no, don't go along with the crowd. Stand out. Be an individual. Do your own thing. But, whenever we think about disagreements, it always leads to, we always think about arguments. Or I used to anyways. When I thought of a disagreement, I thought there wasn't a synchronization. It's going to lead to an argument. People are going to think emotionally. They're going to react instead of respond logically. It's going to go back and forth. It's a fight. They're trying to prove who's right and who's wrong. But sometimes thoughtful disagreements are absolutely incredible. I'll tell you why. Let's say we're talking on here, right? I'm saying what I'm saying, and I'm giving my 2 cents on a matter, on a topic. And you reply to me right after watching this or hearing this, and you say, Daniel, I absolutely love what you're saying, man. I agree with it from beginning to end. I'll say, fantastic. Or, let's say I'm taking a video like this, I'm recording, you're listening to what I say, you send me back a response or a DM, and you go, Daniel, I heard everything that you said. I totally disagree with you on this point. I don't think you're correct on this. And this is why. Do you know what my response will be? Fantastic. Please hit me up. Let's talk about it. Maybe there's something that I don't know. What are the chances that you know something that I don't? What are the chances that I'm wrong about something, and for whatever reason I just didn't see it, I couldn't see it from my perspective, and you being able to point it out to me, you being able to explain your way of thinking might make me go, oh, you know what? John's right about this. I did not consider that at all. And because of that, doesn't that make me more self-aware? Doesn't that lead to more growth? Doesn't that lead me to be more clear on the matter and better off in general? So see, when you look at it like that, when you look at a thoughtful disagreement as in, you're searching for the truth, right? You seek to find the truth. You want to understand what's real and what's not, what's right and what's not. The big misunderstanding that happens is a lot of the times conversations which lead to persuasion, when we're talking about agreeing and disagreeing, they lead to emotionally charged as opposed to logical. Now, from a just brain part of view, when we're talking about emotion, oftentimes it's a part of our brains called the amygdala. This is the part that starts firing off, which your logical and your reasoning goes down and your emotional thinking goes up, which leads to things like your heartbeat speeding up, which leads to things like your face going red and tone of voice increasing and cutting people off before they're finished giving their answer, or giving them the straw man defense, where you kind of talk about, so you're saying that, and then you make his conversation sound really, really stupid, even though that's not what he said at all. So I really do think we need to look at thoughtful disagreements in this positive light, in the sense that, what can we learn out of this? If we're looking at this as not me versus you, but two individuals who seek the truth, and we want to work together to find it together so that we're both better off. There's a chance that I might be wrong about this. However, I do not want to assume that you're automatically right, and I do not want to assume that I'm automatically right. So, I know from personal examples, when I go to conversations and I say, hey man, this is happening, even as simple as a date. Hey man, when's that fight coming up? Oh, it's the 17th. And then my buddy of mine will say, no, Daniel, it's the 12th. My, obviously, human nature, you're a little taken back by it. And then it takes conscious thought to go, you know what? Did it get moved to the 12th? And then I think for a second before opening my mouth, which is super, super important. Something that everybody should work on, something that I need to work on, is thinking before speaking and thinking, you know what? Did it get moved to the 12th? Am I mixing up the dates? What are the chances he's right here? And then I might say, you know what, man? I really thought it was the 17th, but I might be a little unsure. And as soon as when you say that, it totally cuts off any chance of an emotional reaction. Why? Because human instinct, if someone comes to push you, physically push you, what are human instincts? Your hands come up, right? It's a trigger. It's a primal effect. So when verbally you defend yourself, when you say, no way, man, it's the 17th, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the chance of him going back and be like, no, you're totally wrong, it's the 12th, or whatever. I know the example that I'm using doesn't seem super major. You can use whatever example you like in your own personal life, but just to make it sound easy to comprehend. You know, whenever I say, you know what, is it the 12th, man? I don't know. I really thought it was the 17th. And when you don't come off as pushy and as aggressive and as you're trying to push your point forward, it makes the other guy understand that tone, understand that atmosphere and that energy that you're giving him. 9 times out of 10, he's going to give it right back. And instead of being like, yeah, you idiot, it is the 12th, he's going to be like, I thought it was the 12th, but maybe it was the 17th. Maybe I have it wrong. Now, I know the big pushback is going to be like, well, Daniel, if you know you're right, why can't you just say you're right? Why do you have to relax so you can spare the other guy's feelings? Now, my friends, this is super contextual. So what I'm saying now, please do not take it like black and white as it is and try to post it in every circumstance. It's going to depend. It's going to depend on how sure you are. You know, if you're 100% sure, immediately when they go, no, man, I think it's this, you can go, you know what? Actually, I checked recently. This is what I saw, but can you tell me why you think the way that you do? Like explain your reasoning to me. That is the number one answer. That is the number one solution. If there's one thing you want to take away from this, it is that. Whenever you have a disagreement, just go, can you explain your reasoning to me? And I want you to look at them in the eyes. And I want you to look at them with your body. What does that mean? That means you're not facing away, you don't have your body turned, you're facing them with your body, shoulders forward, you're giving them all your attention. I just want you to make eye contact and don't say anything. Because when you say something, you bail them out. Look at them and go, why is that? Or, can you explain how you came to that conclusion? Or, why, man? Why would you say that? Right? Just get them to explain their thoughts and then just look at them. Don't say anything. And if they start talking, look at their eye contact. Notice how much they pause in between their sentences and listen to the evidence that they give you. And if it sounds valid, if it's supportive, if it makes sense in terms of common sense, you can either say, okay, I'll take your word for it. Or if something sounds fishy, don't hide. Come out and be like, you know what, man, that made sense. But that part over there, when you talked about this thing, you kind of lost me there because this is what I thought. What do you think? And it's the most important thing, my friends. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Your tone of voice. Your tone of voice is everything. I'm amazed by people's, not audacity because they don't do it on purpose, but, everyone falls prey to it here and there, but it's people underestimate the power of voice. So it's like someone will say something and they can be totally innocent, but they're not aware that their tone sounds aggressive. It sounds pushy. It sounds, what's the word I'm looking for? It sounds even condescending. They're not aware of that. And because they're not, the person responds and goes, oh, you're condescending, you're being a smartass. He'll say something back. And then, now you have a back and forth where he thinks you started, you think he started. So really, my friends, tone of voice does go an extremely long way in these things. But thoughtful disagreements are not a bad thing at all. If anything, I encourage them. And it is something that I'm totally working on. I was a guy who was super opposed to confrontation. A few years back, I'm still working on myself. I just didn't like confrontation at all. But I realized, hey man, you know what? You have to. Confrontation is being in an uncomfortable moment where sometimes there's pressure on you, where something has to be cleared up for the sake of both parties. And it's important to be able to learn how to get through that. Because if, like me, you're not a fan of confrontation, you can either do two things. You can avoid it at all costs, or you can go head on into it. Now, avoiding it at all costs, short-term gain, because you don't feel that pressure on your chest, but long-term disadvantage in the sense that it's always going to come up in life, in all different situations. Could be as crazy as, you see someone doing something that they shouldn't be at work or somewhere at a party, at a social gathering. You have to go step up. Or even be as simple as somebody messing up your order. And just be like, hey, like just as littlest thing. So really, my friends, confrontation or anything really that bothers you, that puts a weight on your shoulder, I understand. It is super easier said than done, but I would highly recommend go into it. If you're scared of something, go full on into it. That is the way to go. That is the best way to go. I really do believe that.